Alright, so I got another video here on the A160, and as you can see, I'm going to be flying it today with the Jumper T12 Pro with the Multiprotocol module inside, and this will work with any OpenTX radio with the Multiprotocol module, and also Deviation TX as well. This is using the KN protocol. The stabilizer is on channel 5. No, sorry. The rates are on channel 5. The stabilizer is on channel 8. I will show you my setup at the end of the video and the OpenTX here. If you were interested in that. I did do some reinforcements on the plane since the last video when I crashed it. I glued the landing gear with some welders, so that should hold up a little bit better. We'll see. Also the struts as well, glued those in over here so they don't pop out, and then I add some tape for the cowling to hold that on in case of a crash. There's only these two little screws here holding that on. Now there's been some speculation as to what's causing the sudden tip stalls of this model, because it really shouldn't just suddenly stall like that, because it's, you know, this is a well-known form factor. It should be pretty stable, but it seems like something's going on with the rudder, and it's going to be hard to explain. I'll show you that at the end of the video before the radio setup. Basically, what happens is the rudder is overreacting. It will just suddenly go full to one side or the other, and if you're going too slow, that will just cause it to tip over. So I think if you are going to be flying this, with the setup here, you're going to want to fly it fast to sort of compensate for that. But I think that for those of you guys that are more intermediate pilots and have building skills, I would suggest ditching the flight controller stabilizer board completely and just wire up the servos directly to a receiver and fly it completely manually. I bet it'll fly totally fine manually without the rudder going crazy. And I'm not sure if the rudder is going crazy because of the stabilizer, which is totally possible. I won't know until I unhook that. Or if it's because the rudder servo is just got some sort of problem. Not really sure which one it is. Anyway, if you guys want to see another video on this model, maybe without the stabilizer plugged in, just the receiver and all the servos plugged into the receiver, let me know in the comments below. I'm not sure how much interest there is in this particular model. I mean, there's no reason why it shouldn't fly well, but yeah, just I don't know. And then another thing is maybe do a motor upgrade or fly some 3S. There's not enough space in the battery compartment for a bigger battery. It's pretty tight, so that could be a problem as well. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you think, and let's go ahead and see how this flies on the Jumper radio. So as usual, it's very windy, or the wind is kind of coming and going. I think it's going to get very windy here shortly, so we'll have to see how this flies. Alright, so I'm going to try and go in the middle here. Give me enough space to fly around. And yeah, I have a feeling this is going to probably crash again like it did the first video. We'll just want to see how well the control is on this with the Jumper radio. And I'm going to go into the wind. Wind's coming from that direction. That's totally hands-free launch there. This is the beginner mode. Super quiet. I'm not even applying rudder. I'm going to try and stay off the rudder as much as possible. So the turns are very slow there. Trying to get back into the wind. It is giving a rudder mix. In beginner mode, and it does get pushed quite a bit here. I'm gonna try and bring it down a little bit. It's kind of getting too high. So, as expected, control's really nice in the beginner mode. And I don't see or hear the rudder doing anything weird. Yeah, if it's tip stalls, it's almost unrecoverable. The thing is, if I put it into expert mode, that's where I'm actually seeing the rudder kind of go more crazy. So I'm a little hesitant to go into the expert mode. Let's try and get a little lower here before I just try that out. Alright, let's try the high rates here. Switch into high rates. Okay, that's a little better. I have a little more control now, even though it's in beginner mode in high rates. Oh yeah, way more control. Just doesn't have throws. Another thing that I tried is I switched the rudder all the way over to the and the control horn way over to the outside, so it has very little authority now compared to before. So that's another thing you could possibly try. And also moving it on the servo side as well. I didn't do that. You can minimize how much authority the rudder has. Yeah, going downwind is really fast. Yeah, way better control with the jumper radio. It's actually flying really well. It hasn't freaked out yet. I'm expecting that to happen at any time. All right, so in expert mode, the aileron rates are like huge, and I only put expo on it. I actually didn't put reduce the rates, so we'll see here how that does here. I'm gonna put it back into. Whoa, we put in the low rates here first. All right, and then I'm gonna turn it into the wind, and then I'm gonna jump into expert mode and take a look and see how this thing flies. All right, so now we're in expert mode here. No stabilizer. I can tell the CG is a little off. Oh, it doesn't have the authority to do the to rollover. It's interesting. Thought it would be able to do that, but it's not able to. I'm going to put it back into beginner mode. It's a little sketchy. I think high rates in beginner mode seems to be the best. At least for me here. I'm going to I have way more control. I can bring it like nice and close to me here, and like I can just fine control. Yeah, so far so good. It's not going too crazy, but the wind is right now it's calm. So I think the rudder overreacting may show more in windier conditions, because it may have something to do with the stabilizer. Again, I'm not 100% sure. But I am trying to fly it faster. As you can probably tell, I flew a lot slower in the previous video. So that also probably helps. Oh, there it goes. I knew it. So I turned a little bit too hard. and it tip stalled. And that's because the rudder just overreacts. Let's see if I can show you. So let's see if it will come out. There it goes. See that? I'm barely moving my stick and it's going nuts. Look at that. This is the reason why it's tip stalling, I think. Right there. I'm barely moving the stick. So, and then the battery cover always comes off in a crash. And I mean, it did nose in pretty good, but the glue seems to have held for the landing gear and the wing struts. It's all holding together fine. Yeah, and the cowling didn't pop off. I think the tape helped as well. So I would recommend all those little reinforcements. I think that helps a lot. But yeah, I think that's gonna do it for this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And if you want to see more videos or content on this, and I'll have the radio set up here at the end of the video. Okay, so this is how I have my radio set up. This is the Jumper T12 Pro with the internal Multiprotocol module, and my radio channel order is AETR, as well as the channel order on the Multiprotocol module firmware is also the same AETR. Your radio may be different or set up different. This is an OpenTX radio, so you should be able to figure out how to adjust these changes on your radio if you know anything about OpenTX. I would suggest searching the internet for OpenTX tutorials. You'll probably find plenty out there, and you just follow these same directions here. So I've already set up this model. Let me just show you what I have here. And I have this on the internal Multiprotocol module. You select multi, and the protocol is KN. The subtype is WLToys. This is the firmware on the Multiprotocol module. I'm using 1.3.0.76. AETR is the channel order. And basically, after you plug in the battery, you have to do a bind. So you go in here and then press bind, and you'll bind up. It's pretty basic, pretty standard. So the next thing you want to do is go over to your inputs, and then you should have your input set up like this. I have aileron, elevator, throttle, roll on channels 1 through 4, and then over here on the mixes, this is where all the stuff happens. Again, aileron, elevator, throttle, roll, that should all be set up here. And then I have on channel 5 a switch for SG, which is the switch over here. That is the rate switch, and that's going to be on channel 5. And on channel 8 on SH, which is this one over here, I have that for the 6G versus 3D mode. So that's on this 2-position switch over here. And that is pretty much it for the setup. There's other things you could set up here, like I think gyro calibration, that kind of stuff. If you go to the multi-module website on their page, which I'll link in the description, you'll see what all the other channels do. I don't use any of those. Those are the only two that I used for this setup, is the rates and the switching of the 6G and 3D modes. That's pretty much it for the setup.